The University of Florida takes the field at Tennessee with the Gators' goals almost identical to the vision of the Volunteers. The symmetry of these two schools starts at quarterback. Two gunslingers who hit their targets anywhere on the turf. Danny Wuerfel seeks nothing less than a national championship and believes his Gators will climb over the top this year. But Peyton Manning is giving chase to the national championship too. For the coaches, Steve Spurrier has worn the crown of the SEC 4 times, something Philip Fulmer hopes to fulfill. It's a guaranteed high-speed showdown that should be wide open. Football at its fearless best, all out for an eventual shot at #1. The buildup has lasted a year, and now it's arrived. Florida takes on Tennessee, coming up next on CBS. Well, the pregame ritual for Peyton Manning is complete. He arrived early to read through the game program cover to cover before putting on the pads. His counterpart, Danny Wuerfel, has ridden into town ready to play an uncharacteristic villainous role against the Volunteers. It's a duel everyone wants to see. A jaw-dropping 107,000 on hand for Florida and Tennessee. There is so much electricity inside Neyland Stadium. Danny Wuerfel and the Gators, however, have come out of their locker room, which took a little electrical hit. No electricity for the Gators. Now for the rest of the team's performers to take center stage. Tennessee ranks 2nd in the country with wins over UNLV and UCLA. And now the Gators to join their captains, 2-0, ranked 4th in the nation, with wins over Southwestern Louisiana and Georgia Southern. Welcome, everyone. Jim Nance along with Terry Donahue. What a scene we have for you today from Neyland Stadium. How about it, Terry?
Well, Jim, this is extraordinary. These fans are passionate. They've been ready to play the game since this morning.
So much on the line. Everyone figures the SEC champion, a possible national championship appearance later on in the year. But what about Tennessee's game plan? The last loss for the Volunteers was against Florida last year. What are they going to do here today?
Well, Tennessee has been preparing for this game for a year. They've looked at a lot of film. They liked the Nebraska-Florida game out of the Fiesta Bowl. They've studied that film. Nebraska shut down the Florida offense with blitzes and a fierce pass rush. Tennessee's going to try to do that today. The question is, do they have the personnel to do it? Florida, for their part, has a brilliant head coach in Steve Spurrier. He's the best in the business. He didn't like what happened to him in the Fiesta Bowl. He's made some subtle changes in his offense. He's not going to let it happen again.
Well, the quarterbacks have certainly gotten the headlines here. Peyton Manning, the junior from Tennessee, and senior Danny Wuerfel, who last year threw 6 touchdowns against Tennessee in that 62-37 victory. But, Terry, you believe it's more than just the quarterbacks to look out for.
Well, I do. In big games like this, I think it's the linemen, those guys that are fighting and out in the trenches, those offense and defensive linemen. For the last 6 years, the team that has run the ball the best in this game has won the game. I think that could happen today.
5th straight year that Tennessee and Florida have played in rainy conditions. Games have not been all that close. Average margin of victory in the last 6, 23 points plus.
Jim, you know, you get to a point where all the talking needs to be finished, and you just tee it up and kick it off, and here we go.
That point is right now. Hope's kick, a good driving boot, and Anthony will not run it out. Danny Wuerfel and the Gators will start from the 20. Wuerfel with an amazing record as a starter in the SEC, 18-1 in his career as a starter in conference game. The only team to beat him was Auburn back in '93. 6 touchdown passes last season in the game against Tennessee. In fact, he made his first career start in '93 against the Volunteers and led them to victory, led the Gators to victory. Running play right side with Elijah Williams nearly picking up 10 yards. Yes, give him 10 for a first down out at the 30. Leonard Little helped bump them out of bounds, but not until he gained 10. Williams with that carry, averaging last year 7.5 yards a pop. Evans, the fullback, Hilliard and Anthony, so dangerous. Allen, the tight end from right here in Knoxville.
Well, and you can look for Elijah Williams to catch the ball as well as run it.
Collins, Kalich, Mitchell, Young, and Pillar, the Florida offensive line. Well, for the second straight home game, there's a little malfunction here with the game clock. It has not started.
Jim, Tennessee came out on the first play of the game in a different alignment. They came out with their nickel defense. They substituted number 34, Steve Johnson, at cornerback. They took number 44, Craig King, out. Means they're going to try to play Florida spread offense with 5 defensive backs. Very much the same philosophy that Nebraska used in the Fiesta Bowl.
Saw a quick look at Steve Johnson. He has tremendous speed. First down, Florida. Williams carrying again, this time getting the work done up the middle for about 8 before he's finally popped by Jason Parker along with Leonard Little. The Tennessee base defense, Terry, you recognize the nickel package, but their base defense with Little, Duff, Barron, and Brown on the line.
And you can look for Leonard Little to align in different places today to try to put pressure on Wuerfel.
Wilson, Hines, and King, and a strong secondary. Austin, Noel Parker, and Terry Fair, who returned a punt for a touchdown against UCLA of 86 yards. Elijah Williams getting the work early, and first down and more into the secondary, and holding on to bring him down so he wouldn't break it for 6 is Steve Johnson. 32 yards.
What happens to you when you play Florida, you expect that they come out throwing the ball. Instead, Florida has come out attacking on the ground with a sweep play here to the right side of the field.
Boyd at his fullback, Jerome Evans, put out a good block for him. At last, Wuerfel will throw. Downfield, Anthony open, and he let him too much. So Elijah Williams with 3 carries for 51 yards and springing that one 32 yards into Tennessee territory.
We talked at the start of the telecast that the team that was able to run the ball the best had won the last 6 games. Here it is, Florida trying to establish the running game right off the bat.
You see the Gators last year ran for 203 yards in the victory. Travis McGriffin is a receiver. The bottom of your screen. Crowd really getting fired up, but still 10 seconds on the play clock. The poised Wuerfel now under center with 2 on the down clock. Williams back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10. Leonard Little, he'd been playing with a cast on that right hand in the UNLV and UCLA games, but without one today. Give him some freedom at last.
Well, there's no question that defensive linemen are limited when they can only play with one hand. This is the first time all season that Leonard Little has been able to play with both of his hands. It should help him in the ball game.
3rd down and 10. Wuerfel with great time now decides to tuck it under and back to the line of scrimmage. Billy Ratliff. 4th and 10, and the offensive unit is still on the field for Florida. In this driving rain, a 52-yard field goal is apparently going to be bypassed.
John Chavis, the defensive coordinator at Tennessee, told us yesterday that whatever he did today against Florida, he wanted to play well in 3rd down situations. Last year, they played very poorly against Florida in 3rd and long. This year, they've made a real conscious effort to improve it, and there was an example of it.
I'll give Ratliff the sack, a loss of a yard, 4th and 11. End zone bound and caught for a touchdown. Riedel Anthony. And Wuerfel finds Riedel Anthony from 35 yards out.
One of the things that Florida was concerned about was Tennessee blitzing them when they got down in the scoring zone. Tennessee only had a 3-man rush that time. They didn't put heat on Danny Wuerfel. As a result, he had all day long to throw. He hit Riedel Anthony for the touchdown.
Bart Edmiston will attempt the extra point. Matt Teague on the hold. 7-0 Gators. They take the opening kick, drive it 80 yards, and connect on 4th down and 11 for a touchdown. Terry, you talked about the tension, the emotion, and Florida takes the opening series 80 yards, scoring on 4th down. What does that do to Tennessee?
Well, first of all, since 1990, when Florida has scored first, they're 43-4. That's significant. Secondly, it begins to take this crowd, which is incredible, out of the game. That's what Florida wants to do.
And the kick by Teague will be run back by Levine, only to the 12. Peyton Manning under center. From his own 12-yard line, first snap for Tennessee. Good piece of running there and an open hole for Jay Graham, who hasn't seen many openings in the first 2 games. Xavier McCray on the hit. Peyton Manning, 20-2 as a starter. Last year, 326 yards passing. He led Tennessee to 30 first-half points. But then the onslaught by the Gators when they ran off 48 unanswered. Graham stuffed. Stuffed by Reggie McGrew. It'll set up 3rd and about 3. Jay Graham last year set the Tennessee season mark, 1,438 yards rushing for Jay Graham. It'll be 3rd and 3. Lawrence Wright is out. Shea Showers into the secondary for Florida. On play action, Manning across the middle and intercepted. It's Brown with the interception. Tico Brown sets up Florida at the 10-yard line.
Tennessee is trying to hit a crossing route, and Peyton Manning, the ball just gets out of his hands. One of the things we talked about was the effect of the weather. That's what happens when you have a rain. The ball gets slippery. You haven't practiced all week. With the rain coming down, the ball was just a little bit high. Here he overthrows Nash right there. Tico Brown with a critical interception.
Gators from the 10. Play action. Wuerfel, end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown, Florida. Terry Jackson. And 26 seconds into this game, and Florida with its second touchdown already. 2 touchdowns in a minute and 26 seconds.
Steve Spurrier is a master at getting the tailback isolated on the linebacker. That's exactly what happened right there. Terry Jackson against Tyrone Hines. That is precisely the difficulty in trying to defend Florida. They get you matched up wrong.
Extra point, good. 14-0. Gators. Sometimes a number just belongs to a family. Terry Jackson, number 22, the third member of his family to wear that jersey for the Gators. His father, Willie Sr., played here 1969 through 71. His brother, great receiver here, playing with Jacksonville of the NFL.
The thing I like about Terry Jackson, the current player, is that he plays not only running back, but linebacker and special teams as well.
Better running room this time for Levine up to the 23. Peerless Price in a slot to the left with 4 receivers in the game. From the 27, Manning will come out of the pocket and pick up about 2. Beauchamp, who talked a lot this week, on the tackle. Tennessee's offense starting today with Graham and Ford in the backfield. The record-breaking receiver here at Tennessee, Joey Kent, with Marcus Nash, Dustin Moore, sophomore speedster at tight end. And the line inexperienced, but challenged now. Teague, Robinson, Gibson, Poole, and Rito. 2nd and 9. Give him a yard on that keeper by Manning. Graham trying to get outside. He'll lose about 6. Javon Curse, freshman from North Fort Myers, Florida, sets up Tennessee with 3rd and long.
Bob Stoops, the defensive coordinator at Florida, has come in here with a new defense. It's an attacking defense, one which is built to create turnovers. It's a hard defense to run against because they overplay the run. You're going to have to start throwing the ball to loosen that defense up.
Weary, Wright, Brown, and Lott, the best secondary in school history at Florida. A defensive unit that has scored already this season 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Manning got away from the sack and gets the first down out at the 41. Peerless Price with the catch for 18 yards.
Peerless Price at the top of the screen. He's the 3rd receiver for Tennessee. They're all very, very fast. He runs a little hook route, but that reception and pass belonged to Peyton Manning. Fabulous job by him, avoiding the rush, making a play happen.
First down, Graham for about 5. What a huge first down, though. Well, the 1st and 5 with the penalty against the Gators. And all the way out to the 50, it's Graham again. Near the first down yardage. He's trying to rebound from last year's performance against the Gators.
He really felt personally that he had contributed tremendously to the loss to Florida. He fumbled twice, didn't feel like he played a good football game. Talking to him this week, you could see there was a special desire in his eyes and in his heart. He wants to play well here today.
He picked up the first down with that last carry. 49-yard line of Florida. Manning going down at the 42-yard line. Ed Chester, sophomore from Spring Hill, Florida, backs up the Volunteers about 9.
Ed Chester is the best defensive lineman at the University of Florida. He just makes an inside move and just will not give up on his pressure on the quarterback. Peyton Manning needs to avoid that rush. He was too stiff in the pocket that time. The previous couple plays ago, he did a great job avoiding. He didn't do it that time.
2nd and 19. Greg Kyler has come in as a receiver, number 80. Straight drop back, right side, open room. Graham back into Florida territory at the 46. Set up 3rd and about 7. Okay, 3rd and 7, back to the action, and Manning passed. He had an open man, Kyler. The defender had slipped, so flag is in the area of where that pass, where Manning threw the pass.
Because holding on the offense is refused. Be 4th down.
Larry Binion has come in to punt the football for Tennessee. And Riedel Anthony, who scored the game's first touchdown, he suddenly is racing to the sideline. And they cross him up. The Volunteers slip the punter back to the sideline. Peyton Manning's under center on 4th and 7. A gamble. Manning fires, caught, and then popped loose, incomplete. Florida will take over near midfield. Tico Brown with a jarring blow that knocked it loose.
Well, one of the things that you got to give Florida credit, they came on the blitz. They're playing bump to bump man coverage right there, and what a hit by Tico Brown.
What a gamble. 29 seconds to go, first quarter. Wuerfel in the pocket. Now release. And almost intercepted, then caught, but they say out of bounds. Caught by Jaquez Green. Parker had it. Had the pick for a moment. Wuerfel has not thrown an interception this season.
Well, right here we see Jason Parker with a tremendous play on the ball. He had that ball. He's going to think about that tonight. That would have been a huge interception for him. He was in man-to-man coverage, did an outstanding job getting that receiver covered down.
Green did a good job of making sure he did not get the pick. 2nd down to 10. Across the middle, and the ball caught. What a nice balancing act there by Jaquez Green. First down at the Tennessee 39. 21 yards on that play.
Danny Wuerfel is an incredibly accurate thrower. This ball is high, and he is saved by Jaquez Green. What a reception, a spectacular catch. Well,
and that's one play after Green had knocked it out of Parker's hands for the interception, which was an acrobatic play also. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score, Florida 14, Tennessee nothing. We'll return to Neyland Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. As we start the second quarter, Florida leading 14-0, scoring 2 touchdowns in the game's opening 4.5 minutes. Elijah Williams, Jonathan Brown grabs him after a gain of maybe a yard. Maybe not. Ronnie Pillow came in on the hit also.
You know, sometimes you get in huge games like this and the momentum shifts go one way or the other. Remember last year, Tennessee took a big early lead on Florida, and then the roof fell in.
That was 30-14 in the second quarter. Tennessee, in fact, twice led by 16 in the first half, only to watch Florida score 48 unanswered and win 62-37. Wuerfel and open. It's caught at the 21-yard line by Anthony. 23 yards on that pass play. Raymond Austin on the coverage.
Florida got Tennessee in man-to-man coverage, and Raymond Austin just could not cover Riedel Anthony. Tennessee coaches have tried to protect Raymond Austin. He's not a natural cover man. He's more of a run support player, and they need to protect him. When he gets isolated like that, it's trouble.
So first down, Florida, just outside the 10-yard line. Off the pitch, Williams. Long developing 4-yard carry. Jonathan Brown eventually got him.
Remember, at the top of the telecast, we talked about the offensive line and the defensive line play. Those would control the tempo of the game. Right now, Florida's offensive line is clearly controlling the tempo of this game.
McGriff into the game. 2nd down and 5. Loaded up with 3 receivers on the right. 7 on the play clock. Looks left side. Caught. Touchdown. Ike Hilliard. Overloaded the right side. Crossed him up and found an open Hilliard in the end zone.
What Steve Spurrier did was he spread out his offense. Ike Hilliard got isolated on Terry Fair man-to-man, and he ran a simple inside slant route. It's hard to defend when you're man-to-man, those inside cuts like that. That was his strategy as much as execution.
Hilliard caught 4 touchdowns against the Volunteers last year. Wuerfel with his 3rd touchdown pass of this game, and a nice job by Matt Teague getting the snap down, and Edmiston converts. 21-0 Gators, and we'll return to Neyland Stadium after this word from your local station. 21-0, not sun-drenched, but a stun-drenched crowd here at Neyland Stadium as Florida leads 21-0 on 3 Wuerfel touchdown passes. Levine from the 2. Gallops to the 26-yard line. Manning. Joey Kent, who stepped out of bounds at the 42. 16 yards. They'll mark it back at the 42. Joey Kent, who's caught more passes than any player in Tennessee history.
Well, and the thing is, Jim, this is the first time Joey Kent's touched the ball, and we're into the 2nd quarter. One of the things you have to do is get the ball in your best player's hands, and that's what Tennessee is doing right here.
They tried to go to him on that gambling 4th down play, but the ball was jarred loose by Tico Brown.
He didn't hang on to it.
Pressure and almost picked off. In fact, it is caught. Intercepted by Florida. James Bates. What a sweet pick it is for James Bates, who grew up right here in the Tennessee area. Brother played last year for the Volunteers at quarterback as a backup.
Tennessee is trying to set up a little screen pass here, and the ball's batted at the line of scrimmage. It's not by the initial rusher. Right there, hits a lineman in the leg. What an interception by Bates.
It is storming in Knoxville. Florida 21-0. After the Bates interception, Florida set up again in Tennessee territory at the 30. Wuerfel. Elijah Williams back there, and they throw the flag. They throw the flag against Tennessee and Al Wilson. Some here thought that would be offensive interference, but it's going against the Vols.
Well, you see right here Al Wilson on man-to-man coverage against Elijah Williams. That does not look to me like interference. You've got to let people play defense. He was doing nothing but playing defense. That is a very poor call against Tennessee. Let's take another look. See if he's got his arm out there a little bit, but right there, he gets hooked as well as the other guy. To me, you got to let people go ahead and play the game. I don't see that.
College football, not from the point of the interference, but a 15-yard step off from the line of scrimmage, setting up the Gators now at the 15. Wuerfel looking for more. Flag down. Pass caught. Touchdown. Jaquez Green, but there is a flag.
Think
penalty against Tennessee.
They lined up off sides, Jim.
Touchdown, Florida.
Right now, Tennessee just cannot cover the Florida receivers. Jaquez Green gets off the bump and run coverage with ease. Wuerfel puts the ball where he always puts it, right on the target, and they got another touchdown, 28 points.
And 11 minutes remain in the first half. That makes it 28. Wuerfel with 4 touchdown passes.
Sure.
To 4 different receivers. One to Anthony, one to Jackson, one to Hilliard, one to Green.
You're going to see right here at the top of the screen, you're going to see Jaquez Green isolated one-on-one against the bump coverage. He just gets off the line of scrimmage clean right there. Wuerfel's already laid the ball up. There's plenty of room on the sideline to let the receiver run underneath the ball. Tremendous design by Florida in the throwing game. Tennessee seems so geared up, so ready to play this game. The coaches, the city, the state, everyone was so ready for this game, and to have this kind of an explosion.
They called it the biggest sporting event in Tennessee history, state history. Nice little comeback too by Jaquez Green. When we last saw him at the Fiesta Bowl, Terry, he suffered a dislocated hip on a kickoff return in the second quarter against the Cornhuskers.
Unbelievable hit right there, and he made a very speedy recovery from that injury. Steve Spurrier was telling us at practice the other day that he was shocked how quickly he came back from that.
In fact, he was back for spring ball and playing today with a hamstring pull.
I'd hate to see him healthy if he's playing with a hamstring pull.
And the run back out to the 22 by Derek Edmonds. That has suffered 1 casualty already today. In fact, they're in on Manning again. Somehow he gets away for just a moment, and it's Bates bringing him down.
Peyton Manning is trying to change the play at the line of scrimmage. He's audibilizing with hand signals right here. The problem, Joey Kent, the wide receiver, didn't get the proper hand signal and didn't run the route that Manning expected him to do. Manning did a good thing. He pulled the ball down, tried to fight it back to the line of scrimmage.
And he got there. 2nd and 10. Left side, Graham. Ball free, caught midair by Anthon Lott. Lott to the end zone for another touchdown. Can you believe it?
Johnny Rutledge right here against Jay Graham. You can see the ball's a little bit loose. Right there, it goes up in the air, and Anthon Lott makes the reception and takes it in for the score.
The 6th touchdown scored by the Florida defense this season in 10 quarters.
Last year they scored 1 defensive touchdown all year long. You got to say that Bob Stoops has brought something new to Florida that they haven't had before.
5 touchdowns in the game's first 20 minutes. Anthon Lott returning the fumble, 27 yards, 35-0 Florida in a Tennessee waltz. Johnny Rutledge with the hit, the impact causing the fumble, caught in midair by Lott, run back for a touchdown. Smokey's looking for the house. Levine from the 5.
There's another fumble. That ball came loose.
And they're saying Tennessee was down. Back judge already awarding the football, and the possession stays with Tennessee. See how they handle this now. 10 minutes to go, second quarter.
Peyton, play action. Long ball, man there. Price caught. Touchdown. Give it to him. Touchdown, Tennessee. To Fearless Price. And they're indicating they're going to go for 2.
Fearless Price right here at the top of the screen. He's going to go one-on-one against that bump coverage. He gets off clean. And we lost him there on the replay, but he's there on a post route, a little play action pass. They faked the run. The linebackers came up. He ran a post on the defensive back. Pure one-on-one coverage. Got open. Got a little excitement back in the stadium.
We just said, let's see how they handle 35-0. And one play, touchdown to Price. Now going for 2. Manning rolling out, looking, firing. Price had it for a second, then knocked loose. What a hit by Lawrence Wright. (35-6). Peyton Manning just became the all-time touchdown passer at Tennessee. He was tied with Heath Schuler and Andy Kelly, 36 coming into the game. That's his 37th strike. And he also moved up the SEC all-time list for touchdown passes, moving past Steve Spurrier. Hope to kick to Anthony and Green. Wes Green from the goal line. Good hit. A lick put on him by Westmoreland. Eric Westmoreland, freshman from Marion City, Tennessee. Gators run it for 4. Peyton has now surpassed his interception total of a year ago, 5 on the season. Last year he set the all-time SEC record for lowest interception percentage. Gains on the coverage, pass caught by Anthony. First down. Florida says we have one more drive in us before the half.
You'll see the real Steve Spurrier right here. 35-6, 1 minute and 42 seconds on the clock. Most of us in coaching would be running the ball here, satisfied with punting, making sure you come off the field 35-6, you're elated. I'm not sure Steve Spurrier will do that.
Guarantee he's looking for more, but not on that play. Will they find any gain? That's Williams, stopped by Hines. 1:20, clock running. Well, the clock still burning. Gators have 2 timeouts remaining. .56 seconds to go in the half. 2nd and 11. Football free. Still on the ground and recovered by Tennessee. Looked like the Gators got a little complacent on that series, and it may cost them before the intermission. Jason Parker recovered.
The ball is slippery because of the rain earlier today. The ball right here just goes right through his hands. It's a little high. He just mishandles it. Elijah Williams. Tennessee comes up with a big turnover. 50 seconds left on the clock. This would be a psychological lift.
Would it?
Get on the scoreboard here with a few seconds left.
Ball at the 38. Tennessee has all 3 of its timeouts to work with. Green out of the backfield. Graham, they'll have to use a timeout here. Down to the 35. Peyton hit inside the 20. Will stop the clock to move the chains. Ball at the 17. It's an 18-yard pickup.
Peyton Manning doing a good job of getting his team organized in the 2-minute drill here. He's got 2 timeouts left. There's no reason to use one. You can get a play called before the chains ever move.
Want to go left side to the end zone, overthrowing Kent. 22 seconds. Been in this scoring zone. In fact, just a last possession came away empty. Interception by Lott.
Never in my wildest dreams did I think Tennessee would turn the ball over 5 times in the first half.
Or even for the game.
Yeah. Or for a couple games, the way they work turnovers.
Last year, 10 on the whole season. 5.5 today. Manning to the end zone, almost intercepted by Brown. Brown and Showers on the coverage. Pass intended for Nash.
Florida blitz the middle linebacker, James Bates. He came with the pressure right there. Nobody picked him up. Right here, almost. Tico Brown almost gets that interception, goes high for the ball.
And Bates with a fumble recovery, and a very active day for the middle linebacker for the Gators.
I had him in summer camp when he was in high school at UCLA. He came out to our summer camp. He can run, he's active, he's an instinctive football player.
17 seconds in the half. 3rd down for Tennessee. Throwing off balance, incomplete. Would you kick a field goal now?
I think that right here you go for it. Go for your score. I think at this point in time you've got to be able to just get your team excited again. Phil Fulmer's got a difficult job at halftime. He's got to go in there and basically say to his team, look, fellas, everything that we planned for went the wrong way. But we've got to prove what we're made of in the second half. We've got to come out here and play with Florida on an even keel. We've got to demonstrate we can do that.
So 4th down, plus only 12 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Comes the blitz.
Needing a boost. Manning got it away. Intercepted. Look out. Open field ahead. Fred Weary. They converge on him, though. Cut off the angle with Jay Graham. Turnover number 6 to close out the half. Picking Peyton Manning for the 4th time in the game. Lawrence Wright was blitzing, got in the face of Manning, forcing the bad throw. Manning in 1 half matches the entire number of interceptions he threw the entire season of 1995. Let's go down to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Steve, this crowd, 107,000 strong, is pretty stunned at how dominating you are.
Yeah, we got off to a good start, Michelle, and then we got a little lazy on offense, but our defense playing super right now. We need to stay on the field offensively and not give them all these chances if we can.
Thanks, Coach.
That's the end of the first half with the score. Florida 35, Tennessee 6. Pat O'Brien, Craig James, and Danny Sheridan coming along with college football today after a word from your local station. (35-6) Florida. Kicking to start the second half. Tennessee had deferred to the second. That's Westmoreland fielding the short boot. And he runs it out to the 28-yard line. Our Michelle Tafoya had a chance to visit with Philip Fulmer coming out of the locker room.
Incredibly high expectations. What do you say to your team? How do you get them to bounce back after that?
Just go out and execute better. Obviously very disappointed in the first quarter and the turnovers, but this football team will fight you, and I believe we'll come back and make a football game of this yet.
Your offensive line took a big hit with the loss of Jarvis Rito. How do you protect Peyton Manning?
We'll work at it. We'll work at it.
Thank you, Coach.
The old offensive line coach at Tennessee, Philip Fulmer. He was a guard on the team a quarter century ago and captain of the 1971 squad. Manning completes his first throw of the second half to Peerless Price, who caught the 72-yard touchdown. Tennessee's one shining moment. In the first half, the total yardage now is well in favor of Tennessee, but the glaring stat, the 6 turnovers.
And the 21 points off those 6 turnovers, Jim. That's the glaring stat right there. 3 touchdowns they've given off those turnovers. That's been Tennessee's downfall today.
2nd down and 2. Manning 13 of 27 for 223 yards. Picked off 4 times. It was intended for Nash. It'll be 3rd and 2. Overall, 6 mistakes by the Volunteers. This was the first one. Came just after the first touchdown. Set up a score and then batted around, picked off by James Bates. Fumble recovery was the 3rd. Lott ran it back for a touchdown, make it 35-0. The 4th, a strip by Chester, recovered by Beauchamp. On a 4th and goal, turnover number 5, the pick by Lott. And then on the last play of the half, there was another interception, that one by Weary. 3rd and 2 from the shotgun. Good time and good throw. Price with the first down. Weary says, hey, wait a minute, I got the football. Oh, first down for Tennessee.
You have to wonder about the turnovers, Jim. You have to wonder how much of that was a result of Tennessee being tight at the start of the game. They put an awful lot of pressure on themselves. They built this game to be the game of the decade, biggest game in Tennessee history. Sometimes that can tighten you up. You can come out and you're just not free to play. And I think that happened to Tennessee a little bit. In the second half, they'll play freer. I agree with Phil Fulmer. They've got fight in them. They'll fight.
First down, Manning, open man. It's McCullough. McCullough had a chance to grab a touchdown in the first half. Holds on for 7 on that play. Wuerfel completed 7, Terry, 4 of them for touchdowns.
That's the key figure right there. Danny Wuerfel. The Florida receivers were just too much for the Tennessee defensive backs. They couldn't match up. They could not play the structure of defense they wanted to play against Florida.
Wuerfel now with, well, touchdowns in his career, 82 touchdown passes.
You got to be impressed with that guy. What he does every year is incredible. Part of it's the system and his head coach, but he is an incredibly accurate thrower.
2nd and 2, Graham darts for the first. Wuerfel's moved up to number 5 all time touchdown passes in college history. He's got a chance to reach 100 for his career. Only one player's ever thrown for 100 touchdowns, and that Ty Detmer, who ended up with 121 at BYU.
And I've heard people talk about his release. They say it's a strange release. He doesn't look good throwing the ball. All I know is he gets it where it's supposed to be.
You like the results. Forget about the release,
I
right?
don't care what the guy looks like. Just make sure you get it to the receiver. That guy can do it.
Benji Schuler in as a receiver for the Volunteers. New set of downs. Fake, pass, caught, 30-yard line, down to the 25. That's Jermaine Copeland, the backup quarterback, who also spends time as a receiver. 18 yards on that pass play.
You don't see very often in college football, pro football, a guy who's able to play 2 ways. Copeland can do that. Being the backup quarterback, he's also an outstanding wide receiver. He can grasp the offense from both positions. Very unusual.
Tennessee's Cordell Stewart. Mark Levine in his backfield. Pressure in on Manning. Never had a chance. And that's Willie Cohen's.
Phil Fulmer was right. His team has fight. They've come out here, received the opening kickoff, put together a good-looking drive right here.
But that was the 3rd sack of the game for the Gators.
Willie Cohen's coming off the right side, continues to put the pass rush on Peyton Manning. It's as much a coverage sack as anything. Peyton Manning couldn't find anything open down the field.
Cohen's a sophomore. Up to the 29, Manning, and a miscommunication. Tyler came back. Manning threw long.
Right there, you can see clearly the miscommunication between Manning and his wideout. Those are the things you just keep working on in practice. You got to work them out. This isn't the kind of game where you can allow those miscommunications. You've got to be totally on your football game when you're trying to beat Florida for the Southeastern Conference Championship.
3rd and 14. Opening series of the second half. Volunteers trying to make a little statement about what kind of fight they have. Need a big play here. Pass in the area of Kyler, who was open.
Just a poorly thrown ball that time by Peyton Manning. Again, you have to wonder about whether or not the ball's heavy because of the rain and slick, but it doesn't seem to be that way for Danny Wuerfel. He's being able to handle this. And also the pressure. They have put a lot of pressure on Peyton Manning, just as they predicted they would.
Jeff Hall will attempt his first field goal of the year, 46 yards. Fulmer wants to put some points on the board for this first possession of the second half. 46-yard kick. Got to hook a little bit, and he got it in there. Jeff Hall, good job.
Good decision by Phil Fulmer.
Florida 35, Tennessee 9 early in the third quarter. Jeff Hall's 46-yard field goal. Tennessee has scored the last 9 after Florida raced to a 35-0 lead. Now the Gators to touch the football for the first time in the second half. Green on the return up the middle, and a flag falls. All right, so Wuerfel and the Gators from the 11-yard line. End around Anthony for only about 3. Jason Parker stabilized that side of the field. Leonard Little was over there also.
One of the interesting things this half will be how will Steve Spurrier play. He's up 35-9. Does he all of a sudden kind of draw himself in and be conservative, if you will, or does he just play with the same personality? I say he plays with the same personality. Spurrier is a unique coach. There's not many like him.
Well, he opened up with an end around, and he did not sound satisfied when he talked to Michelle going to the locker room at halftime.
Well, the end around's a safe play.
2nd and 7. Well, they're going to put in the air here, Terry. Wuerfel overthrows Ike Hilliard.
A wide open Ike Hilliard. Wide open. Ike Hilliard runs a crossing route here. Tennessee has not changed their defense from the first half. Here you see Terry Fair trying to cover Ike Hilliard. He doesn't have a chance right there. Wuerfel just let the ball get away from him. Wasn't a good throw by Danny.
Ike Hilliard from Patterson, Louisiana. He's known Peyton Manning since they were kids. In fact, worked at a Manning quarterback camp this summer in New Orleans. As a counselor.
Here's the whisper again, where they're trying to whisper the play to everyone.
1 on the play clock, just snapped it in time. 3rd and 7. Hello, Leonard Little.
You've got to be impressed with the way Tennessee has come out and started the second half. Phil Fulmer said the football team had some fight. And sure enough, they come out, they get a field goal, and now they stop Florida on the opening drive. Leonard Little right there. Hello.
Looked like he was lined up as a middle linebacker that time.
They're moving him around. They don't want him to line up at left defensive end where Florida can double him and help on the pass protection against him.
Robbie Stevenson to punt from his own end zone. Fair, the return man at the 50. Not a pretty kick. Fair retrieves it, 44-yard line, trying to get wide. Now cuts back middle. And he is belted at the 49 after a 5-yard run back. Ronnie Battle on the hit, but Tennessee has the football near midfield with 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Could have used that hat here in the first half, the helmet. We had rain showers here, but it's clearing, and Tennessee putting together a little flurry here. Joey Kent to the 49 of Florida. Tennessee 6 turnovers, all in the first half. Wuerfel with 4 touchdown passes. Now you think back to that first touchdown of the game. It occurred on a 4th and 11 play from the Tennessee 35. I think it shocked them.
Tennessee's gone to a no-huddle offense here, trying to fight the clock. It's good decision-making by Philip Fulmer. There's no reason to huddle. Manning can run the offense as efficiently at the line of scrimmage and save time, particularly when you're in the third quarter here. You still got a long game to play. Get your team up to the line of scrimmage, get plays called.
Graham with the first down yardage. He got it to the 45. Graham with 12 carries for 31 yards. He's averaging less than 3 yards a carry on the season. This after setting the Tennessee record last year in 1 year of 1,438 yards.
And you know what that comes back to? That comes back to the offensive line. Any way you slice it, 4 new players in that line. It's going to take them time to develop. You just don't step in there, become starters overnight.
Tyler with the catch. And again, no huddle for Tennessee. Last year's offensive line, 148 career starts.
Very experienced. This year's very inexperienced. Phil Fulmer, being a former offensive line coach himself, he'll bring that line along. They just weren't ready for this kind of a big game this early.
Open player, and football fumbled. And what a play by Copeland. They're going to rule him down at the 24. Copeland ran back to get it after McCullough dropped it. McCullough's catch will count. First down at the 24. See, McCullough fumbled it, and then he kind of slapped it over there, seeing a teammate in the area.
You can see right here, he makes a beautiful catch. The ball comes out. They've ruled him down. The ball's in, knocked away by the Florida defender, and Copeland comes in there, makes a great effort to save it.
But they ruled it down where McCullough made the catch.
And it was a good call.
From the 24, 2:30 to go, third quarter. And Manning's got time on this one. McCullough again. 10-5, darting for the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee. They're not going to go for 2. They brought in Hall for the PAT. 24 yards to Andy McCullough, the junior from Dayton, Ohio. 35-16. 16 unanswered now by Tennessee. Manning completed all 6 passes on that drive, covering 68 yards with a touchdown pass of 24. Riedel Anthony to the 30.
I saw some fans at halftime, Jim, out in the parking lot. They were leaving the game. What if this thing gets turned around? Will they be sick or what?
They need a big defensive play now. 35-16. They got one. A gain of a yard by Williams. Al Wilson on the hit.
Florida has not had good field position this half. They've been backed up most of the half. They have good field position right here. Steve Spurrier, it's going to be interesting to watch him now. 35-16, what do? Do you play and guard your lead, or you just turn it loose and let it go?
He's never been one afraid.
Never.
Of turning it loose and letting it go.
Not that guy.
2nd and 9.
Coming on the blitz again.
Anthony with the catch at the 37. That's still short of a first by about 3 yards. Right here, Danny Wuerfel managing his offense. The Florida offensive line,
an outstanding job picking up the blitz, giving Wuerfel time to get that ball to the outside.
That's the end of the third quarter. Tennessee outscored them 10-0 in that period. Florida 35, Tennessee 16. Will return after this message and a word from your local station. All right, here we go. We change ends. Jim Nance, Terry Donahue, Michelle Tafoya. Second and 22. Out of the backfield, it's Jackson to the 45. Billy Barron came in from behind. It'll set up third and about 10. Gators won their last 13 SEC games.
How about 25-2 in their last 27 conference games?
13 in a row, looking for 14, but rather stagnant since halfway through the second quarter. Wuerfel left side, and Johnson bats it away, intended for Hilliard.
Johnson getting the unexpected start at nickelback today against Florida. Excellent coverage, makes an outstanding break on the ball right here. Almost gets a pick, take it the distance.
So Stevenson back in to punt. And again, Peerless Price, not their normal returner, with Fair Gimpy sprained ankle on the sideline. Price will field the punt. Dives for it at the 12. Fair catch. 13 minutes, 6 seconds remaining at Neyland Stadium. 35-16. But this series starts at the Volunteers 12. Wholesale changes on the offensive line. Manning, three-step drop, hits his target, hits Price, out to the 30, to the 32-yard line. 20 yards. Price with 126 yards overall on the game. That's a career high, plus the touchdown in the first half.
Tennessee once again going to the no-huddle offense here at the line of scrimmage. They have time. The chains have to move. The clock doesn't start until they're moved. They can get a play called, waste very little time off the clock by going no-huddle.
Take the run, fire it, almost intercepted, and then Bates came back for it. It falls incomplete. Harmless in the end, but so dangerous for a tantalizing 2-second stretch, it seemed.
Tennessee has isolated the wide receivers 2-on-2 against the Florida defensive backs. Here the ball's just batted around. Looks like Bates made the interception for a second, then lost it.
What's he won another one? He's already got one today off a ricochet.
And a fumble recovered.
Jermaine Copeland in as a receiver, 4 receivers in all. And 2nd and 10, keeping a watchful eye here on Manning. Catch by Nash. They rule it out of bounds. Did not have a foot down. And I think they're not going to like the replay when they see it, because it sure looked like he was in.
It looks like he's got a foot clearly inbounds right here. You can see it. The only question you have to wonder is, was that foot on the line? You can't see it from that angle, but sure looked to me like that was a tough call against Tennessee.
If he clipped his toenails, he was in bounds. That was close.
Yeah, you know, the guy right there on the sideline, he had a better view than our camera did of that. I would expect he made the right call. They generally do.
3rd and 10. Good pass play. First down, 48-yard line. Andy McCullough, 16 yards.
You can credit the offensive line of Tennessee that time. They gave Peyton Manning time enough to get his feet set and to throw that ball. Right here, again, it's one-on-one coverage. When you get that kind of room as a wide receiver, you're going to beat that kind of coverage most of the time.
Manning. A lot on the coverage. Copeland to the 43.
The two styles of defense are so similar. Both teams continue to blitz, continue to play man-to-man coverage, give up a zone here or there. They play very similar to one another. Tennessee now, 4 wideouts, no huddle offense, playing a little bit like Florida.
2nd and 5, 9 minutes to go, clock running. Across the middle, another completion. Again, it's Copeland for a first down at the 27. A gain of 16. Neyland Stadium, 107,600 on hand. Jim Nance with Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya as Florida here jumped in front 35-0 in the second quarter. Tennessee has come back to score the last 16. Copeland in and out of his hands. You know, on this series, and Terry, we've seen Tennessee play its first 2 games of the year. They tried to go long to number 41, Troy Pratt. We had not seen him in action all season long, and he's a track athlete, track scholarship athlete. Slipped him in for the long play and didn't work, but kind of interesting how that was one they had in their hip pocket.
Just tried to get a mismatch with track speed against football speed. Didn't work, but the thought certainly was there.
2nd and 10. Manning to the end zone. Schuler overthrown. Tony George on the coverage. Manning, by the way, moving in on 400 yards passing. 389 right now. But 4 first-half interceptions.
He'd much rather have those 4 interceptions back and 100 yards off that passing total. Those passing totals don't mean anywhere near as much to him because of those interceptions.
It's a career high in yardage and attempts. Facing 3rd and 10. Got it away to avoid the sack. Mike Moten in on the quarterback.
Just good 4-man pressure that time. Florida didn't come with any blitz package, just let their down 4 defensive linemen get there, hurry the quarterback. Peyton Manning, outstanding job unloading the ball.
4th down and the Volunteers going for it. Have to with only 8:27 remaining, down 19. What a catch at the 3-yard line. Peerless Price. He has arrived in this game today. We had been told during the month of August he was one of the most improved players on this team. What an afternoon he's enjoying.
The Tennessee coaches said that no one on their team worked any harder this summer to get better than Peerless Price. Peyton Manning puts that ball in exactly the right spot, enables him to make a body catch, protecting the ball, and making the first down.
Price with 150 yards on, well, give him 149 on 6 catches and a touchdown. 1st and goal, Manning, man open. It's Lane for the touchdown. Eric Lane, the backup fullback, a senior from East Orange, New Jersey. His 2nd touchdown catch of the season.
Eric Lane just sneaks out of the backfield right here, wide open. Somebody on Florida busted the coverage. Nobody's supposed to be that open. Somebody busted that coverage.
You're now going for 2. Going for 2 to try to get within 11. 8 minutes remaining in the game. Incomplete. A A 64-yard drive, all of it through the air, kept alive on a 4th down completion. It's 35-22, Florida. So much of the Heisman watch focused in on the 2 quarterbacks here. Tennessee outscoring Florida 16-0 here in the second half. Wuerfel with 4 touchdown passes versus no interceptions. Manning 3 touchdown tosses, 4 picks, but over 400 yards. That's Green to the 25. You know, had they made that 2-point conversion, talking about Tennessee, 35-24, they would have been a field goal plus a touchdown and a 2 away from a possible tie game to send it in overtime.
Sure, and coaches plan for those 2-point situations long in advance. They have cards up in the press box, tells them exactly when they want to go for 2 or when they want to kick. But it all comes down eventually to the head coach making that decision.
First down for Florida. And stuffed by Leonard Little. Have you seen improvement in Leonard Little's play today without that cast on the right hand?
No question about it. Leonard Little is a different player today without that cast. And the other thing, Tennessee's done a very good job of moving him. He's been hard to find. You've not been able to lock in on him today over at that left end position. He's lined up in a variety of positions throughout the day, and as a result is having his best game of the year.
2nd and 10, approaching 6 minutes to go. Wuerfel's pass, very dangerous. And he was flattened after the release. Ron Green grounded the quarterback.
Tennessee continues to impress me with how hard they're fighting to get back into this game and their spirit. I'm impressed with the character, the toughness of the Tennessee football team.
And what did Philip Fulmer tell Michelle coming out at halftime? He promised.
Yeah.
So you watch.
Well, they've got a lot on the line, and they're tough, and they've committed to Tennessee and to Philip Fulmer and his staff.
3rd and 10. Hines picked off at the last second. The pass short of the first. Riedel Anthony thought he had the first. He was celebrating a bit, but I think they're going to be about a yard shy.
Now we're going to find out if you go for it on 4th and 1. Now here we go again.
The game maxims in the Tennessee locker room. At first, the game or breaks go against you. Don't let up. Put on more steam.
Boy, did they go against them early in the game, but in the second half, Tennessee has responded with more steam.
And it'll be 4th and less than a yard.
Why doesn't this surprise me?
5:32 remaining. Again, imagine if they stop them.
Look at this formation.
Boy, you talk about strange formation, and Wuerfel had him so dazzled he just kept the football right off right guard for the first down.
Look at this formation. They spread everyone out. The only players inside are the center and 2 guards. Consequently, the defense spreads out. The quarterback runs the sneak for the first down.
Why don't we see that more often?
I have no idea. I've never seen it in my life.
I thought you had to have more players on the line than that.
I'm not sure. I'd love to see the top view of that again. It didn't look to me like they had enough players on the line, but they must have. Steve Spurrier had to practice it and prepare it for this game.
5:07 remaining. First down. Jackson to the 49. 4 for 4 today. 4th down conversions by Florida. Florida and Tennessee both residing in the SEC East Division. 19-1, including 18 straight wins. Only lost to Tennessee back in '92.
The thing that you have to be impressed with about Florida today, not only are the touchdown passes by Wuerfel and all that, it's also the rushing game that they've been able to put on against Tennessee. They've run the ball very effectively today.
2nd and 7. Hines Gets them in a hurry. Maybe a gain of 2. Yeah, here's that strange formation again.
Here's that formation.
Spread them out. Jackson with a hole. Look out with the helmet flying. Corey Gaines took the helmet off.
What Steve Spurrier has employed here is 3 players on one side of the field, 3 on the other, leaving just 3 defenders in the middle. Opens up the running game for the back. There's no defense in the middle. Tennessee has spread too wide with the Florida players. They need to bring at least 1 man inside to help tighten that defense down. Tennessee is thin right now on both offense and defense with all these injuries.
Florida has kept the football on this drive for 4 minutes. Noel and Little bring him down. Smokey's just exhausted by this whole thing.
Smokey's had enough for the day.
You said something about call off the dogs. He must have gotten the word. Well.
Misery loves company. Look at Smokey. You talked about Florida's ability to rush the ball. 47-1 when they outrush their opponents. You think of them as a passing team. But
that's
47-1.
That's during the Steve Spurrier era. Jackson took a pretty good hit himself that time. It'll be 3rd and about 4. Question: will Florida move ahead of Florida State in the polls and move up to number 2 in the country? 3rd and 5, and Jackson able to recover.
You saw that option play earlier in the game. Again, situation 3rd down and 5. You expect Steve Spurrier to throw the ball. You expect something different. He comes out with an option. The unexpected.
4th down, and here's another situation where they'll go for it with Tennessee out of timeouts. 4th and 4, 2 minutes remaining. Evans comes up shy of the first, and we'll get to see Peyton Manning and the Tennessee offense one more time.
You've got to give that Florida offensive line an awful lot of credit during that last drive. They kept the ball on the ground. They took precious seconds and minutes off the clock, allowing now for their defensive team to play differently than they could have had to play if they had gone in there and punted that ball. Great job by the Florida offensive linemen.
They took 6 minutes and 11 seconds off the clock on that series. So just 1:50 remaining. No timeouts for Tennessee. Got to get out of bounds. Copeland does indeed at the 33. All right, Pat, thank you. We look forward to that. There's Manning, left side this time. Price, he steps out at the 43. So 1:38 remaining. Avoids the sack and all the time that would have expired. Tennessee will next play in 10 days. Ole Miss at the Liberty Bowl. Then at Georgia. Alabama will come in here October 26th.
The fact they don't have to play right away following this game because the high expectation levels of the game, that'll help them heal the wounds a little bit.
Quickly, and McCullough did not get out of bounds. And the crowd's unhappy about that call, about the spot. Chester.
What Philip Fulmer and his staff need to do, they'll have to convince their team that the season isn't over. They've got a lot of exciting games left.
Peyton expresses his displeasure. That's good for a first. And that's Levine. You know, one thing about the Bowl Alliance this year is there's an extra spot in there worked in with the Southwest Conference and the Big 8 merging. So it's very possible, if it's anything like last year and Tennessee was to run the tables on the rest of the regular season, Volunteers could work their way back into the Bowl Alliance by season's end.
Well, they did, as you mentioned, they did last year, ended up the #2 team in the country with a huge win over Ohio State after being defeated by Florida soundly.
Graham tackled at the 41. Again, the clock will run. 50 seconds. Manning spikes it. 36 seconds to go. Well, 36 seconds to go. Might as well take it to the end zone right now.
Now, Donnie Young, you saw the big right guard of Florida there. All-American type guard. Steve Spurrier talked about him in great detail, along with Mo Collins, the big left tackle, Zach Pillar, the right tackle, and Jeff Mitchell, the center. He said coming into this game, he had a very physical, strong offensive line, and they proved it today.
That's the middle, and does he hold on for the catch? They give it to him. Joey Kent, what a collision. And he'll move the chains to stop the clock as well. 15-yard pickup. Manning's total now 466 yards. Good job by Joey Kent to hold on to it.
A heck of a collision here. Joey Kent
needs to get out of bounds.
Get the ball outside now. He's got to get it out of bounds.
Down at the 14, but again, that's enough for a first. So that'll buy him some time. 18 seconds, this determined bunch wanting one more trip to the end zone. And 15 seconds on the clock now. There's a score here. They're going to look back and actually say, wow, how about those last two possessions of the first half?
And how about going for two instead of maybe kicking extra points at that time, or the field goal right before the end of the first half where they went on 4th and 10. You know, there's a lot of things that go through your mind. The reality of the situation is Florida came in and had such an explosive first half, got a lead that was just too big for anybody to catch up.
Manning to the end zone. McCullough, touchdown. 10 seconds remain. Manning's 4th touchdown toss.
Phil Fulmer right now in his head, he's saying, why can't we just have another 2 minutes on this game?
Man.
That's how you think.
35-28. That'll just kick it.
Peyton Manning to Andy McCullough, lays the ball up in a nice, beautiful arc. The only player who possibly could have caught the ball was McCullough. Outstanding throw by Peyton Manning.
Extra point good. Now they hope for the recovery on the onside kick and one fling to the end zone. Could you imagine?
What if?
Well, let's see what happens here. Hogue, the kick. It went right through everyone's hands and out of bounds. Florida football. And the headset comes off. It'll be the 4th straight year that Tennessee falls to Florida.
I know what Philip Fulmer is thinking. I know what he's going through right now. He's built a tremendous program here at Tennessee. The Tennessee players proved in the second half they'll be back. They're going to keep playing hard all year. They've got an exciting team. This was just a better Florida team today, particularly in the first half.
And the final snap to make it official.
That's the end of the game. The final score, Florida 35, Tennessee 29.
Two different halves we saw today, but Florida's start just too strong. And the Gators make the noise that they want back in a national championship game later this year. For Terry Donahue, Michelle Tafoya, our gang in New York, Jim Nance, so long from Knoxville.